In times like this, it is easy to get distracted by stimuli and act emotionally. That is the goal of the powers that be. They don't want you to set back, decompress, rationalize, and study these events from a historical, psychological, and logical perspective. What they want is you to see visceral images of violence on the streets. They want you to get angry and then use your emotions to dictate your beliefs. That's why I'm taking a break from the news cycle and studying these things into perspective, deconstructing, decompartmentalizing, and really looking at the foundations of what is going on. To surmise, I will get into this on a later video in this series, what is taking place right now through Black Lives Matter, through Antifa, and other groups is the attempt to overthrow the existing foundational structures and to bring in a new Marxist government. It is no coincidence that BLM states on their own website they want to get rid of white capitalism, the nuclear family, and Donald Trump. The founder of Black Lives Matter said they're going to burn this shit down if they don't get what they want. I'll get into that later on. But the point is, if you look at revolutions, past revolutions, like the French Revolution, the Chinese Revolution, the Russian Revolution, you will see many similarities pertaining to what is going on today. I will attempt in this series to look at each revolution, dig deep into them, share the parallels between them and today, and then I will point out how they are similar to BLM and Antifa. Before we begin, I think it is important to define what a revolution is. Most of the words that we speak today in the English language derive from French, Greek, Hebrew, and different stages of the English language. You have Old English, which derives from the Anglo-Saxons. You have Middle English, when William the Conqueror took over, and a lot of the words like revolution derive from the French. And then you have New English. I think it is important to look at these terms, look at the origins, because they symbolize things. Symbols, words are important when you're defining certain aspects of society. Contrary to popular belief, originally the word revolution was pertaining to a heavenly body of going around in an orbit, rotation. To revolve, think of a revolving door. It derives from late Latin revolution, a revolving, and from Latin revere, turn, roll back. It entered English from Old French revolution. So you can use this in a French word, revolution. That's why a lot of our words derive from France. If you're interested more in the English language and the origins, I made a video pertaining to that topic a few days ago on my channel. You could check out. But revolution in 1390. It originally only applied to celestial bodies. Only in 1450 was it being used to mean an instance of great change in affairs. The new sense of the word came in connection with the publication of Copernicus on the revolution of the celestial spheres, which overthrew the official cosmology decreed by the Catholic Church. From that point on, the word revolution acquired its subversive political connotation. The presently dominant political meaning is first recorded in 1600, again following France, and was especially applied to the expulsion of the Stuart King James II of England in 1688 and transfer of sovereignty in Britain to William III and Mary. The point I am making here is that the origins of the word revolution do not pertain to anything social or political. It pertains to revolving celestial bodies. But now the word revolution is employed to denote a socio-political change in the socio-political institutions. That is how we often view the term revolution. I was very surprised when I was looking in Webster's dictionary that the first definition pertaining to the word talked about revolving celestial bodies. Now, why is that important? It is important because instead of rapid change, which is the third definition of the word, it involves revolving. Thomas Jefferson made the point that each generation should have a revolution. These things happen so often throughout history. Coups, revolutions, changes of power. It's just that most people associate the word revolution with the American Revolution, which is one of the few out of the thousands throughout the history of the world, which has lasted for such a long period of time and made the individuals who were part of that revolution and the future generations better off. Now that we talked a bit about the word revolution, its connotation, I will get into the first revolution in my series. It is the French Revolution. How symbols, how going against the hierarchy and other factors led to the French Revolution and the parallels of today. Later on, I will get into the Russian Revolution and the Chinese Revolution. Then I will conclude surmising it all together, putting it all together, talking about BLM, Antifa, and other nefarious factions that are attempting to overthrow the hierarchy and structure of America. Now, before I conclude, let me make my point. My point isn't that America's perfect. My point isn't that everything should not change at all. I agree we can make changes, legislative changes, but overthrowing the entire system, if you compare America to any system in the entire world, throughout history, even today, compare it to any country today, we are the freest country, we are the wealthiest country in the history of the world, and we are the most diverse pertaining to population. Comparing America to other countries, you will find that out. But if you watch the satanic bullshit media, they want you to think that America is racist, sexist, homophobic, and has horrible treatment of the people, which isn't the truth. My whole point is we can make changes within the structure where changes need to be made. But overthrowing a system, even a system that is flawed like France, can lead to a power vacuum. When you have a power vacuum, when you get rid of the hierarchy, you can have things happen that make the people worse off economically, politically, and in every metric possible than they previously were under the ruling class, which is what happened in Russia, France, and China. King Louis definitely had his problems, but if you look at what happened when Robespierre took power, and then you look at what happened when Napoleon took power, it was a lot worse off. That is my entire point, that we can make structural changes while not totally detonating the entire system itself. But these agitators in the streets, they don't have a solution. They don't have a game plan. If you ask dumbasses like LeBron, what is your game plan? What is your end game? What is your solution? They will not tell you any legislative changes that they think should be made, introduced, or replaced. They just want to cry and create a public spectacle. So this will conclude my introduction video.